Hello everyone, welcome to the Joe Rocket Experience. We are here today with Bready Sunstruck. How are you, Bready?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. How are you doing, Mr. Joe Rocket?
I am great, I'm trying to improve the podcast, as you may know. As I've received some complaints that I sound too monotone, so I'm gonna try to fix that. However, guys, please send feedback about how I sound, and if you don't like me, just say it, I will kill myself. Okay, moving on. Brady, we have the first question. Shall we get right into the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Leon asks, how does it feel being the last blood of the Sunstrucks?
Well, in nature, the Sunstrucks never were tied by blood. Both Nex and I were brothers by adoption. We were raised on the same boat, you see.
Yeah.
And so, given that, adoption's kind of the key focus of the Sunstruck family. We're a family of immigrants and of adoptees. So I would consider the Sunstruck family to still be living, well, not just in me, but in my adopted son, Fusion. And, well, I don't know how to feel about Croge, considering he joined the Mechanicus, which was
Yeah,
very vocal in not liking his father.
Croge, he's weird, but I think Croge he made the Evermont an incest place. Just everyone in Evermont is now related just because of Croge. Flanks is Croge's father. Nexilitas was Croge's father, if I remember correctly. And then Squashy is also Croge's father.
I'm not a part of that part of the family, all right?
Sure.
You know, diverts into two different ways. There's the Nex tree and then there's the Bready tree. I gotta say, the Bready tree is a lot less circly.
Yeah, the Bready tree is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of you and your son, Fusion, and Fusion by extension, what do you both plan to do now that you have left Vale?
I'm very much of the opinion that knowledge is something that should be preserved, shared, and easily accessible to everyone. I'm yet to. Oh, we'll talk about the Mechanicus later.
Okay.
Well, that's a topic. But primarily, I've always been of the belief that it should be preserved and easily accessible, and I haven't found a good library which just is absolutely chonkers. Like every library I've been told about, I've gone through and I've read pretty much every bit of material there, and I'm like, I need more. There is not enough.
Yeah,
And so
I think the library in Invicta is pretty large. However, neither of us are allowed to go there.
yeah, that's totally stopped me. But
What?
yeah,
What did you say? I'm
that is
sorry. Did we get a confession on the Joe Rocket Experience?
No. I said that stopped me. It stopped me from going there. Absolutely, 100%.
So, let me get this straight. You want to make another library?
Firstly, I'm constructing a university in order to create more knowledge.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, after the university, it's the library.
There have been, I think, the Sanikila University. That's a shame. It's not very used. That could really work. And I see that Adeptus now has their own university. However, that's just totally propaganda. I'm not gonna go into detail if you don't want me to, but that's my opinion. I think it's just totally propaganda.
I have a question for you now.
Oh,
I'm spinning this on you now.
That never happened before.
Who do you think is the Troto elite? If you had to say one person, who do you think is it?
Vorain Cole.
Okay.
I think that's one of the most important people in the Troto elite. There are obviously more. However, I don't want to accuse anyone else of being part of this terrible organization. But I can assure you that Vorain is part of the Troto elite.
That's fair. That's a fair assumption considering your past and history.
Yes, that's why we allowed him to come on the podcast. Even though I wasn't the one interviewing him, we allowed him to come on the podcast to see the opinion of a Troto Elite member, to see how does a Troto Elite person think.
Diversity of
Is it-
thought and expression is very important.
Yes, it is. Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we have received a couple questions, and they're all from an anonymous sender. I'm not going to tell anyone who that anonymous sender is. However, their first question is, what is your opinion on Occitania and your opinion on Occitania being very active again?
Well, I want Occitania to become prominent, and personally, I believe that Lucky is a great individual from
I
just
agree.
just from hearsay, right? From what I hear other people say, and for minimal interactions, all this sort of stuff. But I've never dealt with them in a position of power, so I'm not sure how well they'd be able to lead Occitania. I have trust in that they'll put Occitania on the right path, but overall, I feel very positive.
And what
about
is the
Occitania.
right path? What do you mean by putting it on the right path?
Well, considering they have the Metal Germania or ex Metal Germania Kaiser in it, Dime a Dozen,
Yeah.
and Dime a Dozen is an Mason, and Lucky is also.
Yes.
That is of worry to me because, as we know, the individuals that started the Great War was Comey and Burun declaring war upon Patria, which had just joined AMA.
Yes. But my opinion is that while Dime might be a smooth brain, might not think as much, there's Lucky there, and Lucky will not let him do whatever he wants. Because
Yeah, I'm
Lucky is
trusting Lucky.
actually a responsible, trustable person of the society. There's only one person in the Osmaistan family which I do not trust, and that's Dime. I do trust Lucky, and I do trust Tom.
I know that there are many differences in family. For example, my late brother and I would have disagreements very commonly. However, I believe that kind of dynamic between my brother and I is quite different from those who were born to the same parents. So I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that's nature versus nurture at its finest. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. The same anonymous sender asks, what is your opinion on the Adeptus Mechanicus? Why did you decide to openly desecrate the Omniscience? The Omniscience what? No, it just
I'm
asks.
assuming Omniscience Throne.
Yeah, it's just desecrate the Omniscience despite knowing exactly what would happen to you. Why did you do that?
So first of all, I come from a very a-religious family. My brother and I share very different religious values, including my father and I and Nexus father. We come from a very a-religious family, and we would poke fun at each other's religion so commonly that we never thought of it up until lately, of it being a very serious matter. As long, as it wasn't direct harm to someone or discrimination to someone based on their belief.
Because the Adeptus, they get pretty offended when you say that their religion is not true or make fun of it.
Yes, and I suppose that's different in nurture versus nature again. We were nurtured to be tolerant and thick-skinned, whilst I presume the Adeptus Mechanicus is pretty thin-skinned. But
I agree.
well, actually, it's just tin.
They don't have skin. They're just thin layers of metal.
On the topic of the Adeptus Mechanicus, my opinion of them, I believe their goals and beliefs I share many of. I believe they are fools for just straight up declaring me a heretic and not being able to work with me, as I believe I'll become one of the most prominent people in the preservation and creation of knowledge very soon.
I hope
And
that's
so,
true.
by declaring me a heretic and refusing to work with me, they are, by nature, preventing themselves from preserving knowledge and creating knowledge at an efficient rate.
They're very narrow-minded people, you know. They just look straight forward. They can't see
I wouldn't say
all the
narrow-minded.
possibilities. What
I'd
would you say
say
then?
I'd say they take their religion's honor so strongly that it hurts their own religion, and as such, the Omnisire. They take it too strongly. To best serve someone, you need to be able to criticize them and to further accept when others may have harmful thoughts of the individual you are worshipping in order to achieve the individual you're worshipping's goal, which is preserving and creating knowledge. There's different levels to things, is my point.
Yeah, I understand your point. That's a really good point.
Also,
And
not nice when doing the Varane goal.
Varane goal.
When doing the interview with Quintara, mentioned that they told me to go to a trial, and I declined. I never received such offer ever. They just attacked me.
Maybe then I'm going to ask Varane goal for proof of telling you this right now here on the podcast, because I know you listen, man. Please send the proof that you did ask Bready about this, so we can prove Bready wrong if he's wrong, or prove you wrong if Bready is right.
I do want to also add something. I searched through any official documents sent to me. I did not search for open statements that were not in open channels, for example, the channels which is commonly referred to as mini news or event news. I did not search through like general open channels.
Okay. But I think that if it was in places commonly referred to as mini news or event news, I'd also be able to see them, but I don't remember that, you know. And moving on, why did you decide to openly desecrate the Omnisire's throne, Brady? Why did you do that? Because I never did that.
Oh, you'd never do that? Not twice?
Not twice, no, never.
No? Alright.
No.
Sorry, what are you, a double heretic? Is that 2 times the heretic I am?
Yes.
Based. But to openly desecrate a place of worship, even to my own religion, personally, I really do not care. If you do not attack someone for their beliefs, I believe that there is barely any wrongdoing.
So what you're telling Adeptus is to cope and sit.
In a more formulated, non-aggravating way, yeah.
No, I have to agree with that. I share that belief strongly.
Yes, and I have attempted to reach out to the Mechanicus to offer apologies so that we can work in future, because I do realize that what I have said and done has harmed their honor, and To that, I did feel sorry, but I cannot feel sorry for them overreacting and refusing to help me in our common goal of preserving and creating knowledge. That's just a dishonor to the Omnisire.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, I didn't know what would happen precisely.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't know
You know?
boundaries,
Okay, okay.
and
I
and it was never openly said what the boundaries were to me.
okay. I was, I sat on the throne after you did. I was well aware of what was going to happen.
Yeah, you're a double heretic by choice.
Yes, I am, and I did it anyways. I was not accused of heresy at that moment, considering I overdosed and died. But when I came back, they have asked me to come to the trial. They have asked me that. However, I think they came to a conclusion way before they asked me. Because I went and I looked in conversations about me after my death, right? When they did not know I was going to be revived by Khonshu and by Flanks. They did not know that. And I looked through conversations, and they have openly said stuff like, a heretic is dead. That's good. I will look up the exact message and I will put it on the screen on the podcast when I finish it, and I will publish the podcast with the screenshot of their message. And yeah, they obviously came to a conclusion before holding the trial. So why not just go ahead and do it twice? Why not give them some fish in their aquarium?
Oh my god, I told you not to do that.
It was fun. That was fun.
When I heard she actually did that, I was like, what the fuck? He actually did it. That is like the most ballsy thing Rocket has ever done.
Oh, is it? Have I? Am I that much of a pussy? Have I done nothing worse than that?
I mean, considering you were no longer under the protection of anything that would actually be able to, protect you very well, that kind of amplified how much of a ballsy play it was.
Oh, okay. Anyway, should we move on to the other question?
Yeah, sure.
Because the anonymous Sander asks one more question. Why did you decide to live so far away in Vale rather than close to everyone when you first came onto the lands of Trotu? Because I understand what he means. However, I'm really interested. Like, it's not a big distance. You can get there in the Nether very fast. So I don't get why he's asking you this. Or
Um,
she.
I'll still answer it. Well, my family, right, Nex and I, came from boats from the very, very, very far northwest, millions and millions of kilometers away, I believe. Although I don't know precisely how far away. That's why whenever we go to search for things to remind us of our journey, we go northwest,
Oh,
or just north in general. The reason settled so far away isn't by choice, it was rather by, well, we kind of have to. We settled on the Isles of Vale because I believe my father's energy was causing these castles to warp in and out of existence. These parts of castles. Inside the castle, there were two children. One was transparent, kind of a ghost. The other was kind of a vicious gremlin. Spooky and silly.
yeah, I know who you are
Yeah.
talking about.
And we decided to settle there. Bo and I were both on the ship at the time. and construct and to begin making these hexes on the top of the castles in order to stabilize them to stay in our realm.
Okay, yeah, I understand that.
And so we were forced to be there out of necessity. Then slowly we developed our own culture there. And then I described the beliefs of what I saw and found whilst on the ship down to Vale. Yeah, what I believe to be divine or just motivation. For example,
May I?
sir?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
For example, in the Pantheon of Vale, one of our figures or ideals is an average otter. And that's because otters spark a calmness and strategic feeling in those who look upon them. Their cuteness is indescribable, and their strategic nature inspires all. They have no godly abilities aside from the effect on the average mind. Otters are the greatest beings in existence. You cannot change my mind. They're cute.
I am not aware of what an otter is. I shall look it up. I am not
Distant
aware of
lands,
that
distant
is.
lands.
Okay. Uh, may I ask you another question? While you kept saying that you were on a boat, where did you start off from? Where did that boat first sail from that it reached the Vale?
I
And I
don't know.
agree, otters are cute. I
I
have
don't
seen
know
the
where
otter.
we started from. I was born on the boat. Same with Nex.
Oh, so you've been on a boat for a very long time.
Uh, into adulthood, yeah.
Okay. Did you have shampoo on the boat? Did you have common necessities, or did you just wash yourself in the water, just go overboard?
All right, come on. We found towns along the way.
Okay. How
It's not
often
like
did you
we were
find towns?
every other week or so. Like we weren't completely devoid of social interaction. We're not
Oh,
boat people.
so you would shower every other week. That's what you're
No, we had to
saying.
shower on the boat.
Oh, that was very modern boat then.
Yeah, our fathers were apparently among the richest of wherever they came from.
That's great. You know that
Wealth didn't
that
get passed down to us, unfortunately, but oh well.
maybe that was because of a changing currency. You did not use the same currency as your father from the place he was, right?
Possibly, I'm not quite sure though. I believe they used pure raw diamonds.
Also, the the wealth is actually lost. It's not a currency that you have, but you have nothing to do with. It's just gone.
Yeah, we just don't have it.
How
It,
did
it
that
was.
happen?
I don't quite remember. I remember one day my father was battling what looked like himself, and our. I don't even know what happened. I basically passed out,
Okay,
and that's also the day he died, and everything was gone basically.
that does seem very sad.
Yeah,
Uh,
I presume he's dead, but I truly don't know.
maybe one day you'll find him.
Well, that
Okay,
is what I'm doing. I am searching.
this seems like a very emotional subject. Do you want us to move on?
Yes, please. Actually, wait,
Okay.
quickly out of RP. The reason I went to the North World is because maps were being made for it, and I was like, oh wow, heaps of new players are gonna go there. Let's build there and get a head start in the North World. And then no one else joined, and I was like, what the
What the nerd?
fuck?
What the
That's why we
nerd?
went there.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay. Back into RP. The anonymous question asks another. The anonymous sender asks another question. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time trying to not sound monotone while also being normal. Yes,
get that.
another question. Do you share the opinion of some others that all older nations need to die? I do not know what he means by this. I have asked for clarification, and he gave examples as Crouch and as the second Nexilitas. But that seems very hypocritical because Crouch is part of the biggest older nation out there, the most influential one.
Yeah, if Croach said it's pretty evident that he doesn't believe it anymore.
Yes.
As for Nexilitus the second, I'm not quite sure, to be perfectly honest. He could have, but I don't share that belief. Old nations do not die, but old nations should not be revived purely for the sake of its name. Like,
So, for example, you do not want another Baron just because it's called Baron. You would like there to be an actual government that does stuff there, right?
Oberon, I believe its story has been told. I believe its story has ended with the final battle of Mittel. If anything comes back up, it certainly shouldn't be called Baron, because I believe that's disingenuous to the romantic story of the rise and fall of Baron.
Do you feel the same way about Chesapeake?
Chesapeake is an interesting thing. It's, how do I say this?
A group of idiots.
It is a group of idiots. I know almost all of them closely. I'm very surprised Chesapeake hasn't collapsed on itself yet, if I'm being perfectly honest. Especially considering Flabby's dead, but I also feel like Flabby has a lot more power, so I'm quite scared.
Yeah, Flabby does not have as much power anymore, because the way this works now, we have a governor for every district. There are 4 districts. We have me, Nexilitas the second, my dear husband Potato, and Flanks, which is also the president, as the leaders, right? And we have elections every 2 months, seeing who will be El Presidente, which is the leader. That person has special powers as being able to veto votes, but they're also responsible for making announcements. It's not a very powerful role, but it's a very honorable role. And the way this works is, if you want to be a governor, you either have to start your own district or replace the leader of your district. And you can do this democratically. It can be, if your district is a monarchy, then you have to be chosen by the current leader of that monarchy. And Flabby is an interesting example because he lives in the Upper Chegar district.
I hate that
name. That's Pallor and Hardmount. That's the district. I named it because, there was the auction to be able to name it. It's now called the Upper Chegar district, and Flabby lives there. Franks has never given power or held elections in my knowledge. So I don't think Flabby will be able to become the leader unless Flanks steps down. But we have a propositions place where normal citizens can suggest something, and we, the government, we, the governors, the mad lads, we will look at that and vote for that. And in propositions, we have Flabby proposing, make Chesapeake a one-party state under the Freedom Party.
Oh my god.
Make Mad Lad discussions and votes public, which are public, both of them. So yeah, Flabby Flabby still believes in the Freedom Party, and he's still an interesting person. But we are proud of having him as a citizen. Better to have him with us than against us.
I thought because everyone's believing into the Troto Elite thing, Flabby was somehow gaining heaps of control in Chesapeake. And I was quite fearful.
No.
But also I'm glad to see that you guys have stuck with a lot of functions I made in old Chesapeake in order to retain power to the states rather than to the most popular states.
Yeah. That's why, because we realized during Vale, we realized that direct democracies do not work when when you have bigger states, as we had
Just
Vale,
don't have
which
states.
was a
don't have states.
But there's the thing that the Vale hive mind would always rebel, and they would always be their own separate thing, in a way. So whatever you would vote,
we only did that against Flabby.
Yes, that is true. But most of the time, whatever you voted, they would also follow you.
Also, even if every single Valian members voted with me, I would still require one person.
Yes, that is true. But that's a very bad thing, considering not all people voted every time.
I do agree. Which is why I created the governor system, which you guys have now taken on in your new revitalized Chesapeake.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for that. And we are obviously a more stable government now, and we are more active. A lot weaker in terms of military.
But also Vale's active now.
Yeah, Vale is active, and that's very great for them.
It's very scary.
No, I do not think that. I don't think their interest is into invading Chesapeake. What are they gonna do with all the land? They have nothing to do with it.
Oh, they wouldn't want Chesapeake.
Exactly. So just let them be. Live and let live, Bready. This is what I say. This is a quote I invented right now.
You invented it?
Yes. And I'd like to mention our sponsor, Bready. Have you ever wanted to go to a shop that still accepts diamonds?
Oh man, everyone wants to do that, like sheesh.
Oh, great. Then I would like to introduce you to Mirai Sekai, one of the few places on the server that still accepts diamonds. And I'm being told that Mirai Sekai has begun to expand and is attempting to restock its shops daily. To go there, the coordinates are 31346 in the Nether. That's 31346 in the Nether. Brady, what do you think about that?
I think that's just amazing. I believe diamonds are extremely undervalued right now. And the fact that there are still shops accepting them is in itself going to elevate the price of diamonds.
Yes, that is great, diamonds are a very important currency to have. No matter how many free marks pop up or the currency that BCA is trying to invent, which I do support. I do believe that's a better currency than the free marks, because the free marks is the currency of the Troto Elite, as you may know. If you do not know this, please refer to the 4th episode, which we talked to Flabby about the Troto Elite.
I watched that for its entirety.
Oh, that's great. And speaking of places that still accept free marks, the Warani Picchu Weekly Observer is the premier local news source in the world. They give news about fear. They ran an article about the Joe Rocket podcast, the J-Rocket experience on January 4th. If you want, I can read it to you. Do you want that?
Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
So the title is Quintara Talks About Lunaism, Fear, Politics on Popular Podcast. Quintara, a citizen of the Federation of East Anarchist Republics, FEAR, recently appeared on the Joe Rocket Experience to discuss the AMAR, which is the administration of Moonlight Autonomous Regions, and his religion, Lunaism. During the interview, Quintara provided details about the history and practices of Lunaism, including its main deity, Khonshu. And this is a break. I'm going to read the second paragraph soon, but I would just like to say that I've been told that's one of the greatest episodes we have yet. So if you have not checked it out yet, please go ahead and do it. Right, Bready?
Obvious. I've watched everything, just unironically.
That's good. That's good. The second paragraph states, Quintara also addressed the current political climate in FEAR. He explained that there is less interaction between regions within FEAR compared to AMAR, and that it has become more common for citizens to act without seeking permission. Despite these changes, Quintara remained optimistic about the future of FEAR, and we highly encourage readers to tune into the podcast to learn more about Lunaism and the eternal politics of our nation. That's a very great topic, a very great section of the Warren Pikachu Weekly Observer, you know. I would like to thank you for saying this. I would like to thank you for giving a shout out to the Joe Rocket Experience. And if you are interested into reading the WWO, you can find in-game copies in Sanikila, and the version made in-game will have a special in-game only article starting on the 11th. So that's great. That's amazing. You know, please go ahead and check it out. They're the reason that we are still able to have the Joe Rocket Experience. They're the reason why the Joe Rocket Experience is still a thing. So please do us a favor and check it out, right, Bready?
Absolutely. Fear is a excellent country, and the WWO is an excellent newspaper.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to work on that name. It's a bit hard for foreigners to say it, but it's a great name, and it's a great local news source, you know. And talking about Sanikila, you might have known that there's a new art studio there. Have you noticed that, Brady?
Yes, actually, I spoke to BCA just very quickly about it. They told me about it, and I was very happy to hear that the arts are spreading throughout the world.
Yeah, that's great. You know, I've been there. I made a couple of paintings myself, which I recommend you go check out. And they're always active. There's a very high chance you'll go there and fight someone over their painting. It's a very great place to go, very great place to socialize. And I like how we could say that Toronto is now in a Renaissance era. You know, we're seeing a lot of art pop up, a lot of books, and even our podcast that could be considered a form of expression. And that is a part of the Renaissance. I think many people are just sick of the war, sick of all of this political stress, and they just let their artistic freedom fly. Right?
Absolutely, and I'm gonna try to help encourage that environment by creating these the university, library, observatory, museum, and
I wish you
radio
luck in
station.
that. Oh, radio station. That's great.
Yeah,
What
it's a radio station mixed with kind of a mechanics area.
mechanics area?
Yeah.
Can you go more in detail?
So essentially, it's going to be a place where you can hook it up to these energy sources I found in my time in Aras, and I got permission from. I didn't get permission, but I kind of just said, "Hey, streams, do you mind if I just yoink some of these at some point in time?" And they said, "Yeah," and then they
That's great.
died. You know, there's a lot of
That's not
correlation with
great.
people knowing me and dying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I knew you. I died. I just came back. Just some people say I'm not the same. Frank said some of my neurons died with me. But
Possibly.
I would like to argue that's not true. I would like to argue that I am better now since I have a podcast going on. But sure, that's not the point of what we're talking now. And it's great, even Adeptus, as much as I dislike them, they finished their administratum, which is a constitution, and they state that they're not a government. However, constitutions aren't those things by a government, aren't those things that government states have.
I I don't really mind if they're a government or a nation or a state of in any kind. However, they have to refrain from becoming political, as it's a disservice to their religion, just
I agree.
on a whole.
I completely agree with you, Brady.
And also in the current state of the world, the more political the Adeptus Mechanicus is, the less unstable the environment is to allow for the creation of knowledge.
What do you mean by that? I'm not sure. I agree. Can you please go more in detail? Maybe I just don't understand you.
With the Great War, in particular, as that was one of the main wars I've been a part of, the pain and suffering that it caused has greatly discouraged many who used to write long texts to continue their art form. It's discouraging them, which in turn stops knowledge from being created.
I'm not sure I agree. I saw a lot of people, as I said before, I would like to think that we are in a Renaissance period, and a lot of people seem to be writing more right now. Can you give me some examples of people who stopped writing because of the Great War?
Well, if we just go through who died during the Great War or the
Oh,
immediate
of course,
aftermath,
yes. That.
that alone.
Yes, but that's. I don't think that's because of Adeptus as a whole. You know, I don't think Shrooms dying is because of Adeptus.
No, I don't
It
think it
might be because
is.
of the Throw to Elite, but not Adeptus as a whole.
No, and I'm not claiming the Adeptus caused any of this, but I'm claiming that warfare does.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then I agree.
And since currently the Mechanicus is by far in large, possibly
The
one of the
biggest
strongest, if
power.
not, yeah, they are the strongest power in this current age. They came out of the Great War remaining relatively out of it, apart from the mercenary and services. They came out of it 10 times stronger, whilst the rest of the world
Yes,
regressed.
but I hear that Daimodazan, he's in debt to Adeptus, right? So Adeptus, when Daim will pay off his debts, if he does that, then Adeptus will be even stronger, which is something I worry about. I see that there's a precedence of Adeptus attacking or announcing attacks on other nations, and I would not think that them being more powerful is a good thing for the Chotu as a whole.
I I am currently in a very positive mood towards the Mechanicus because, in particular, yesterday when I learned of a meeting, it was simply over a temple, and it was about the the manifest. God, the administratum.
Administratum.
Yes, that. Holy, I cannot speak. And since those are largely non-political things, I'm feeling very positive about the future.
That's
The,
great.
the Mechanicus' strength only becomes of fear if they stray from their path of serving the Omnisaur.
I I agree. You know that it's great when they're isolated, but I do not trust they will keep that isolation forever. I do not. I think they do what they think is best for them, and which is fair. I think that I would do the same, but I think what's best for them might include aggression on other nations sometime in the future.
If they aggress and it's to the detriment of knowledge, I will step in
You as an individual,
as an
while you
individual.
might be one of the best warriors Trove to lands have, uh, I don't think you can take down Adeptus as a single person. I'm sure there would be people that volunteer, but I don't think you as a whole can take them out.
The point is not to take them out. The point is to slow them down to so much that it minimizes the effect. I will put my life down to preserve
Oh,
the knowledge of this world. If they turn away from their beliefs, I'll either
that's
die or they'll be forced back onto their own track.
that's a very noble way to put it. I will not join you on this, as
Capitalism?
I'm yeah, I'll just trade with whoever's the best to trade with. If
Who do you think that would
Adeptus,
be?
I mean, you obviously, because Adeptus will never trade with a heretic. But I don't think dying is the best way to put it. I won't make money if I die. To be fair, I'll.
I mean, that's under the assumption I die, which, let's be real. Considering how messy the Battle of Mitchell Germania was, I don't know, man.
Praise McBee. Praise McBee,
I
Bready.
praise McBee.
We have one more serious question, and after that, we have also received some joke questions. So I'll ask you the serious question right now. What's your opinion on Chesapeake now, and how has it changed from the first Chesapeake Federation?
My opinion on Chesapeake now is it's definitely what it should have been initially. Whilst I was kind of heartbroken to hear that you were making this behind, without telling me. Realistically,
I thought that if we were to tell you, you wouldn't join anyways. So we didn't want more than the necessary people to know about this.
that's fair.
Not
Still heartbroken.
not only even our citizens. They were only aware at the last second when we made a vote about 1 day before forming. If hey, do you want this to form? And they said yes. So that's great. If they were to say no, then we would have scrapped all of it and remained as separate nations.
Huh. Well, that is interesting.
Yes, that is very interesting. And we technically formed a couple days before announcing it, because one of Nexilita's the second requests for making Chesapeake again was announcing it on Christmas Eve. So this is why it was announced on that day, because we were technically formed in the 20th. We were already aware of what was going to happen. Us and the citizens were aware. And us as the people who are now governors, we were aware about a week or two before that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's so
I
that's
mean,
why.
doing it on Christmas Eve. Is that your gift to the world?
Yes, that
Chesapeake?
is. Yeah, our gift was,
Cheese.
hey guys, have Chesapeake again. I know how much everyone loved it the first time, including Adeptus. They seem to really like Chesapeake. That is a joke. They do not like to Chesapeake
What
at
do you
all.
mean? They love Chesapeake.
Yeah. And what was your opinion about the original Federation?
I think it was reactionary because we greatly misunderstood what the Ceres Pact was about. We were fearful that the Ceres Pact and the old world just would try to influence us in the north. I believe that's why Vale joined at least, and I think that's why Chesapeake formed in the first place. At
No,
least that was a factor.
no.
It wasn't
You
a
want to
factor at
know?
all.
No, no. The reason why Chesapeake was formed, I talked a lot to Potato. We got along, so I said, hey, why don't we unite? And then Crouch was a little bitch, and not Crouch, Cledge was a little bitch, and he kept saying, no, 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 don't not unite. But we did it anyway. Fuck you, Cledge. Now I get along with you, you're okay. But at that time, you were a bit of a bitch. So we just got along because we liked each other.
Is this an L plus ratio moment?
Yes. It's a
Nice.
cope and sit Cledge moment.
Like you literally ratioed him.
Yes. And I think it was an evolution of the Northern Accords, you know?
Yeah, the Northern Chords definitely added to the idea of Northern nationality.
Yeah. Should we move on to the joke questions?
Oh yeah, the best questions.
Okay. Fuck you.
Ah, okay.
No, that's the question.
Wait, no,
Crouch
no.
asks fuck you.
Oh god.
So how do you respond to that?
Two things. One, child. Secondly, you're in the Mechanicus. Isn't that heresy on your part?
I agree, you know? How would you fuck organic matter?
Yeah, kinda sus, not gonna lie.
Okay. Nexilitas the second asks, what are you cooking?
I'm assuming they mean that as in what's my plans, and my plans is to take over the Joe Rocket experience fully. It's all
no.
mine.
Oh no.
Nah,
The Joe
I do want
Bready
to work with
experience.
you. I do want
That's
to work.
great. I also want to work with you.
Yeah, I feel like we had a bit of a mishap with Chesapeake, but I feel like we can work together much closer in future.
That's great. I hope that's true.
At arm's length,
And
though, stay away.
what are you cooking in terms of meals? Are you
In
cooking?
terms
Do
of
you know how
meals,
to cook?
I do.
That's great.
But usually what I do is I kind of just cut up hoglin meat and burn it. Not
Oh,
burn it, but just cook it, and then I eat pork constantly. I don't care about food. Food just
that's
is the nutrition which fuels me.
that's great. You know, I eat a lot of golden carrots, which is a cause of why I no longer have teeth. I broke all of them in the gold. But that's just a flex to how rich I am.
Including your under construction thing in the ocean, in the Chesapeake Sea.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that
okay.
is. I mean, I don't think that's a secret. I think everyone knows that there's a how should I put this? An aircraft carrier in the Chesapeake Sea.
Yeah.
That it's a very expensive thing to build, which is why I've taken a bit of a pause here. But once we do build it, it's gonna be a national attraction, and many people would want to see it. I also want to have a lot of technology over there. I want to have radar detection, which we are going to do with squawk sensors. That's and a lot more. You will see it when it's done.
This may be spoiling a bit of a Valian state secrets, but I know you don't have the radio detection in yet because you haven't detected the Valian subs.
Oh no, we have not. We have aircrafts that fly over the Chesapeake Sea and look for submarines. However, we have not seen any. So that
Good.
there must be very good submarines then.
Well, it was my engineering genius, and they don't have me anymore, so they can cope.
Yeah, they won't get any more submarines, and when my engineering genius will find a way to make submarines, then we'll have naval supremacy, which we will not use as we are a neutral nation, but we will have it to protect ourselves. And
Right.
we have another more question. Who was in Paris?
Oh, okay. Let me get a quick list. Adelaide, Valentine, Fred, Aphilotilion, Ali Muhammad Aga Khan, Cecilia, Abul Da, Mosquera, Mary Pierre, Anna Linda. Do you want me to go through the list? Because it's a long list.
Sure. We have time.
I'm not joking. It's
I
it's
believe
multiple
that
hundred thousands of people.
one of those individuals was Adolf Hitler, right?
At some point, yeah.
Okay, that's great, but I do not know who Adolf Hitler is. I do not know what any of those people is, and where is Paris on road to? I do not have any idea what Paris is.
Paris is, you could call it the equivalent of the Adeptus Mechanicus, but it's more of an inside joke. You wouldn't get it.
Oh, who's the inside joke between?
Between everyone except you, basically.
No, the truth really just knows what Paris is, and they're hiding it from me.
The Trocho is everyone but you.
Yeah, and Flabby.
Yeah, no,
Wait, what
Flabby
if?
would never get into the Trocho Elite.
Yeah, that's sad. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Brady. Do you have anything else to talk about?
I have one thing to talk about.
Sure, go ahead.
Remember you very early on we discussed, or I think you mentioned BCA and the currency they were talking about?
Yeah.
Potentially, very potentially, I think it's likely, but it's not confirmed. There may be discussions between Rascalt and BCA, a debate, an academic debate, soon.
That's great. Why don't they do it in the Joe Rocket experience, Because BCA is the next to come up on it. And it would be great if we have her debate someone. Maybe even Rice. Okay, Brady, we have one more question which I have for you. This comes from Leon, and he asks, which political pact / bloc is the best?
Did they provide some examples?
No, they just asked this.
Right. Well, I don't know many political pacts. However, the ones I do know is primarily Ceres, Delos, the God, the NTTO, and the Castle Pact.
What's
And
the
of
Castle
the
Pact?
we don't talk about it.
Okay.
And the best one, in my opinion, the one that I wouldn't mind existing today, given the knowledge I now have, is probably the Ceres Pact.
That's great.
I think we made a blunder by going against the Ceres Pact in the Great War as Evermond.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't know. I was dead at that time, but as far as I'm aware, wasn't Ceres Pact communists, or was that the Third International?
I think that's the Third International, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. So then I hate the Third International.
I
do
believe the
not
Ceres
hate.
Pact did ally with Rugwain, I want to say it was, which was communist. However, it wasn't an economic pact, so its communist beliefs were never influential.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, it might have been an economic pact. I honestly don't know much about Ceres apart from its military history.
I do not know anything either.
I know its
I
military and
just
political history.
also does the Northern Accords still apply? I don't think we ever made it void. So do we
Uh,
have a mutual defense with Vale now?
it became void when Chesapeake formed.
Oh,
Because
that's good.
by Chesapeake forming, the participants left, and then Vale also left, hence making the pact literally just the Acrane's Republic. And I presume they would have just scrapped it.
No, they now have a mutual defense with the Acrane's Republic. So
Well, I'm not
if
in Vale,
Acrane,
but they don't
no,
know.
I'm saying if Acrane's gets invaded, they are obligated to defend Acrane's.
Yeah, I think the Acranes is obligated to defend the Acranes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's how countries work.
I don't think so. I don't think they're obligated to do so. But you can just give up, man. But now they're obligated.
Right, right.
Well, yeah,
Actually, a quick comment.
yeah.
Vale right now does not have any packs that I know of.
Neither does Chesapeake.
Interesting.
But that's by design. We want to stay neutral.
Honestly, I wouldn't know if they have any secret packs anymore. I'm only allowed to see cultural significant things
Yeah,
about Vale.
they just in the past what's it 1 week? While you left, they just started making packs. Now they're allies of Adeptus, they're allies of Occitania, they're allies of Danstrik. You know, yeah.
The
They're the big,
Chesapeake, not Chesapeake, the Vale Mechanicus Alliance is real.
yeah, yeah. What about the Chesapeake Mechanicus Alliance?
Oh, well, what's that going to do?
Well, obviously, invade people that disagree with Chesapeake by calling them heretics.
Oh, I died.
Thanks. What I realized.
Oh, I hate you. God damn it. Okay, so is that all you wanted to say? Yeah, that's all I want to say. One short thing. Okay. I have another question for you, which is, you know how well, you're obviously a listener. You know how people leave questions for the next guest? You do not have a question as Quintara left one for Lucky Shark. However, Lucky did not show up, so we had to get you, which you are supposed to be for the next week, right? So, please tell me, what question do you have for BCA, who's coming on the next week on the Joe Rocket Experience? Okay, I have a very interesting question. What is the core idea behind this currency that they've claimed to have thought of?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll probably hear about it before then, but
Yeah,
I think the listeners would like to hear it.
I have received some insight into it, but I have signed a non-disclosure agreement, and I'm not allowed to share.
Right.
So yeah, thank you everyone for listening to the Joe Rocket Experience. Thank you WWO, and thank you Mirai Sekai for sponsoring the Joe Rocket Experience. And thank you Bready for coming on and talking to me. I am very lonely sometimes.
Thanks for having me on, and you're welcome. Actually, you're not welcome to Hideout. You're welcome on the university when it's built.
Thank you. Well, see you guys in the next episode of the Joe Rocket Experience. Goodbye.